right, thank you everybody for joining me today on this beautiful Sunday afternoon. All right, as always, when you have knowledge or information, it is your responsibility to share it and give to others that knowledge and information. We're all a unit, and we all have to work together in order to make this society better as a whole. There's the old Jordan Peterson quote where he goes, "You have to get your own house in order before you can go ahead and criticize others." And for today's video, I want to talk about hospitals. Hospitals seem to get a certain pass in today's society, and I want to show and demonstrate how sick and twisted this society actually is. And for that, I'm going to do a variety of topics, and today's topic is going to be hospitals. All right, let's get started. All right, so this is the recent numbers that we have. This is 2019. The survey time is going to be 1946 to 2017. This is all peer reviewed. Excellent stuff. All right, so in 2017, there were 36,510,000 hospital admissions. So that gives you about 10% of the population will be admitted into the hospital about every year. And these numbers seem to average around 10% as well. So we're going to go to Leapfrog Hospital Safety Grade. And these guys tally together how safe a hospital is. Now, this is pretty new to me. So hospitals receive a letter grade based on overall safety, right? Sort of like a restaurant in their hygienic grade. A, B, C, D, and F hospitals. Now, most people just go to the hospital that is the closest to them in vicinity. Now, how are you supposed to know whether that's an A, B, C, D, and F hospital? I'm sure it'll be on the website. We can delve into that deeper, but just be aware now that this is how hospitals are graded, which is absolutely new to me. So an estimated 160,000 lives are lost annually from the avoidable medical errors that are accounted for in the Leapfrog Hospital Safety Grade. Now, they say a significant improvement from 2016 when researchers estimate 205,000 avoidable deaths. Woo! This number was absolutely shocking to me. Absolutely shocking. Okay, so you can read the full white paper here. So we go ahead and did that. Boom. Let me go up. So this is the PDF file you can go ahead and grab. It's peer reviewed, Johns Hopkins University, And this will bring you down to this little section right here. Now this is table 1. Now this breaks down the identifiable attributable mortality rate. So right here you can look at, these are what the people that, the avoidable deaths, these are the categories they placed in. So for me, the highest one will be central line associated bloodstream infection. It's 18.5% of the deaths. Here we go. Hospital onset methicillin resistant Staphylococcus aureus laboratory identified blood infections, 22.6%. Hospital onset Clostridium difficile laboratory identified infections. Excuse me if I'm butchering this. This is the first time I'm seeing these words here. And death among surgical inpatients with serious treatable complications. Now this is broken down by grade of hospital. 15% in A, 16 in B, 16.3% in C, and D and F are about 17%. So this information has got to be out there. If there's such a disparage between A and D and F, you would think that all hospitals would be strive to get to that A. And it should be. Absolutely it should be. No, there should not be 160,000 avoidable deaths in hospitals a year. But I digress. Okay. Post-operative respiratory failure. 21.84% of the deaths. Now this is alarming to me. Now if that was my mother or father or your mother, father, brother, sister, that it's just completely unacceptable. So we're going to go here. Now I want to do context here. So we know hospital visits, 36,510,000 hospital admissions in 2017. Now for context, and what is this? What's the date here? Okay. This is 2018. So 53.5 million police interactions in 2018. Now you go to the 2018 numbers, the amount of people killed would be around, I think, about 1,100. 1,100. So out of 53.5 million police public interactions, about 1,100 resulted in death. Now, if you do the math on that, that is going to give you a percentage about 0.005%. So almost a moot point, but we want to get that as close to zero as humanly possible. And that's the only way we can have a better society. And nobody should be killed unjustly or through errors. That is completely unacceptable in today's society. And to ignore it would just be a symptom of how sick and twisted we actually are. So we're going to move on here to, this is same, Leapfrog Hospital Safety Grade, errors, injuries, accidents, and infections. Now, in this one, they say as many as 440,000 people die every year from hospital errors, injuries, accidents, and infections. 1 out of every 25 patients develop an infection while in the hospital. An infection that didn't have to happen. A Medicare patient has a 1 in 4 chance of experiencing injury, harm, or death when admitted to a hospital. So today alone, more than 1,000 people will die because of a preventable hospital error. Now imagine that. In one day, hospitals would have killed more people than cops have shot in an entire year. Let me say that one more time. In one day, hospitals will have killed more people than cops have a year. That is an unbelievable number right there. Something that we can't ignore anymore. Now, they say, doctors are stressed, they're overworked, nurses, doctors, it's just not enough funding. Now, you know that the average cost of hospital stay has gone up over the years. So with the average cost going up, you would estimate a increase in or a decrease in preventable errors. Now, the stats here do show a decrease, 205 to 106 in about a 3-year period. So that's a start, good start, but it's still just a high number. Now, if you do the hospital admissions, 36,510,000, and you do the math on that, it's going to give you about 5%. 5% of the people that are admitted to hospitals will not leave that hospital unnecessarily. Now, you do that cop number, it's 0.005%. Why are we so up in arms about the cops? And the hospital seem to get a pass. So I'm going to talk about the average cost of the hospital. So right here, you can Google this. I use Bing. Hospital cost average $3,900 per day, and each hospital costs stay an average of $15,734. That is an unbelievable fucking number. Excuse my language. Woo! And now, with that being said, let's go on to these top health statistics too. So if you put that number, let me go back to here. Sorry, I'm all convoluted here, but if you look at this number, 440,000, that's going to give you almost 10%. 5 to 10% would be the average. So 5 to 10% of people that will go to a hospital will die from an error, injury, accident, or infection. That's insane. Imagine going to a Kroger and you had a 5 to 10% chance of never exiting that Kroger again. Imagine getting an oil change and you had a 5 to 10% chance of never stepping out of that freaking pad. So again, let me go back to here. There's $15,734 per hospital stay. Let me go to this. Let's see the same one. Boom. How much do Americans spend on food a year? And that average is about $7,700. So in an average hospital stay, you would have spent 2 years worth of groceries and going out, partying, going to the club. This is how much you're going to be spending a year That's 2 years on an average hospital visit. Let's go to mortgages. And the mortgage interest, I couldn't get a figure on the average mortgage price, but I did get this interest. So on an average hospital visit, you're going to be spending 3 years worth of mortgage interest on that. Insane. And they seem to be getting a pass, and I don't really understand. So this goes back to the average cost here, right? So the medical billing errors cost Americans $210 billion annually. So not only are you being unjustly killed, but you're being overcharged to an astronomical degree. Roughly 12 million Americans are misdiagnosed each year. So you will be misdiagnosed and then billed for that misdiagnosis, and you have to take it. Medical errors cost, see, this number is 250,000, so it seems to vary. I guess you would have to do an average between that 160 and 440. As many as 80% of medical bills contain at least one error. So they're charging you an arm and a leg, and they're not even good at doing their jobs. This is medical billing, of course. A little more than 4,000 surgical errors occur each year. An estimated 7,000 to 9,000 patients die every year from medication errors. Now, let's see. We're going to go back to this number here. Police. Now, if police had the same average as the hospital visits have, you would have about 500,000 deaths every year from police shootings. This is what I want to highlight. But now this is part of the video where I want to get a little conspiracy theory nutty here. So with that being said, 160,000 lives lost annually. Let's open up a new tab here. And let's go to American deaths per year. Boom, 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 boom. 10 leading causes of death in the United States. Boom, boom, boom. Number 1, heart disease. This kills, 2017, 647,000. Let me see if I can get a graph here. Diabetes, Alzheimer's. So 161,000. It's going to be more deaths than stroke, chronic. Oh. And we have unintentional injuries. This involves accidents, car accidents, injuries. So with that number, 161,000 in hospital visits, the 4th leading cause of death in the U.S. should be right here. It should be hospital medical errors. Now, why isn't it here? It should be right here. Let's go to another one. Let's see. Let's see if we can find a graph that includes medical errors in these things. Let's go cdc.gov. It should be in there. Cancer, accidents, chronic lower, stroke, Alzheimer's, diabetes, unintentional self-harm. Where are the medical errors? Why isn't it here? Why do you have to dig so deep in order to find these numbers? Interesting. All right, this is concludes my video. I want to do a little bit more in-depth video on nurses and doctors, but that's for a later time. So with all this being said, I think the real issue, or a more sudden beneficial reform should be hospital reform. Every hospital should be grade A. It's unacceptable how there are these grades of hospitals. Every hospital should be grade A. And with over 160,000 deaths per hospital, we should be up in arms. Your mother and your father going to these hospitals and sometimes never returning. I am completely in advocation for hospital reform, and I think you should be too. All right, thank you for your time, and as always, all is mind.